August the 29th. It is 4:27 p.m. in the afternoon. And I've had some thoughts, some ideas about things that I want to do to try and help you as much as I can. As I have pointed out many times, I'm not a teacher. I don't claim to be a guru. I don't claim to be someone who can help you to get out of your body or shift. But maybe I can help to inspire you on your own to be able to do it. Though there are never, ever any guarantees of this. And I'm always upfront about this. I always just like to put it out there. But as much as I can, I want to help. And I know that there are those of you listening to me that have already achieved astral projection. Maybe you've even already shifted. And, maybe there are things that happen to you where you're just like, I'm not sure what's going on. Why did I see this? What happened? Why am I seeing A, B, and C? And maybe you want to ask those questions. Now, there are no guarantees that I can answer anything. Like, if you ask a question, there's no guarantee that I'll be able to answer that question. But I'll do the best I can based on my years of experience. I'll try and help you through. And the most important thing for me is to help you figure it out on your own. If this is the first episode that you're hearing on this channel, one of the things that's important to me is self-empowerment. So I'm not here to give you necessarily solutions. I'm here to help you to figure out your own solutions, because you're the person, you are the being that has the power, okay? You are extremely powerful. And I've come to believe this over all the years of astral projection, and since 2015, this whole shifting thing. I think that there is so much power inside of us, and we just, I don't know, we just don't see it, not in these physical bodies. But in this beginning series, and I'm going to talk about, what I do to get out of my body. Of course, I've talked about it before. I'll talk about things that may hopefully be able to help you. One of the things I wanted to talk about was, so I was on the subreddit and I saw this comment, and this isn't the first time I've seen this comment, about the things that kind of scare people thinking about them. Like, are there, and this is specific, are there beings out there in our room, in our house? Are there beings around us? It's interesting because this person was kind of saying something like, well, how do you know that how do I know that I'm not being watched by someone out there in the astral? And, things like that, right? I've seen this before. I've seen people very fearful that they're being watched by, I don't know, some being or something like that. So, first and foremost, for those of you who are wishing to astral project, okay, and I guess this is more focused to the astral projectors, but again, before I began shifting, I was astral projecting. And before I started astral projecting, I was lucid dreaming. So I think that there is a connection, although I've seen in some of the subreddits they say that it isn't. There isn't really a connection. Shifting is its own thing. But I believe that there is a connection with this, because it seems, at least in my experience, it's followed lucid dream, astral projection, and then the whole shifting thing. So let's start with this. It is my belief that we are never alone. Now, some people are going to be freaked out. I know there's going to be somebody out there that's going to be, wait a minute. I mean, are you talking about there are people there when I take a shower, when I do this, when I do that? Yes, there are beings around us. Okay. This is something that I have become accustomed to because most of the beings that I have encountered out there that are in my space are beings that are there to help me. And I got to tell you, God bless them, because there are so many paranoid people out there. I see this again in the subreddit. One of the questions I was asking myself as I was reading this was, I was thinking to myself, so there are beings out there, right? Why in God's name would they be interested in just watching us in general? I'm not even speaking about necessarily speaking about the person's post or whatever, whoever this person was. I'm just saying in general. Why in the world, why in the universe would they be interested in watching us? For those of you who are new to this whole AP thing or even the shifting thing, there's a lot of stuff out there, okay? There's a lot more than the physical world. I know that we seem to be obsessed with our privacy and all these other things, which I get that 100%. But when it comes to being out there in the astral world and whatnot, no, yeah, they're out there, but I don't I don't see why they would be even I think remotely interested in us, unless they were bored, but I don't think so, because those of you who have been on this channel, I have, literally, I'm pretty sure I haven't looked at all of the videos I've posted on my channel, but probably hundreds of videos of experiences that I've had. If you go through those videos, you're going to see how different each one was. And there are so many things out there to do, trust me. So much more than just sitting and watching some stranger. And to be honest with you, so let's go back to who's probably around you, okay? So who is around you? Probably, and again, this is me using my experience, going off of my experience. These are probably guides, probably guardian angel type beings, or beings that are there to help you. And I said, God bless them, because again, everybody's paranoid. So I'm sure that they get this when someone is coming out of their body, and their reaction, the person's reaction when they see them is like they want to scream, or they're scared, or they're like, get away from me. And it's like, do you know that being is probably trying to help you? Why are you screaming it? Anyways, I think the whole unconditional love thing comes in here. Being human, and personally, I still work on unconditional love and stuff like that because it's difficult. I do understand that we have fears, and, especially fears of, I guess, maybe of being watched or whatever. But it is important to get past these things and understand, yes, more than likely, there are beings that are out there. And one of the suggestions I have for those of you who are terrified of this, you think about it now that you're listening to me, you're going to be like, I'm going to be thinking about this. I'm going to have nightmares about this. For those of you who feel this way, do yourself a favor. I was going to say do us all a favor, but I'm going to say this. Do yourself a favor. Do not astral project, okay? Do not astral project. If you have an issue with beings being out there, because they're going to be out there. I've told the story, or the experience that I had very early on. And this is one of the examples that I kind of like to give. I was young. I was a teenager, man. I mean, now, for those of you who have been on this channel for a while, you know that I had my first experience as a 9-year-old child. And through my teenage years, it was kind of on and off, mostly on. And I did not have very good control over my astral projection. Many times I would just lay down and it would just start happening, and I'd be like, oh my gosh. But then I usually just went with it. I didn't get... Over time, I got better about being kind of nervous, And for those of you who are new projectors, you'll understand what I mean by this. Especially, I think, younger folks, because I don't know, as a young person, I wasn't in full control. I really, truly wasn't. So it was one afternoon. I don't remember what day this was. I was, in my room. I was probably 12, 13, maybe 14 years old, maybe a little younger than that. And I laid down, just, I think I was just laying down just to rest for a while. And it started happening, probably pretty quickly. Usually it'll start to happen within 10 to 15 minutes, maybe a little more than that. And so I start to feel myself floating out of my body, right? And again, I didn't try to do it. I didn't try to mentally float out of, I wasn't thinking to myself, I want to leave my body or anything. I wasn't doing anything in that direction. It just started happening. And so as I was rising out, I just kind of looked over and I saw this man come through the wall. He had a greenish tinge to him, like a greenish color. I believe he was greenish. I think I've told this experience multiple times. So this being walks through the wall, walks right by me, and then disappears through another wall. Now, when I first saw this being, I was terrified. I was like, what in the God? It just scared the heck out of me, right? The first time I saw it, because it was just some person. But guess what, guys? Guess what? This being could care less about me. He could care less. He didn't look at me. He was in his own world. He was just walking. He was walking, guys, and he was minding his own business. Look, those of you who are paranoid, please stop being paranoid about this, especially if you plan to astral project. These are also things that I want you to think about before you really start making these attempts, because this is the stuff that maybe a lot of people aren't going to talk to you about. All of those gurus out there that are saying, oh, you do this and that, and then you're going to be able to get out there. They may not talk about this stuff, but I'm telling you from practical experience, this is what happens. You may see something and it may startle you. But what I'm asking you to do is to prepare yourself for this. Really begin to think about the fact that you are probably going to run into someone, run into beings. And to understand, please God, understand this, that actions always speak louder than words. Behaviors, not the way something looks, even if it looks dark like a shadow. And I've had this conversation also about darkness and shadows, and have asked very openly, why are we afraid of darkness? Why are we afraid of shadows? For what? It's just the opposite of light. And nobody can really say this other than the fact that for whatever reason, our culture has gotten into the fact that darkness is evil and light is good. But that's a whole nother conversation. What I'm asking you to do as new projectors is to really sit and think about it for a second, about the whole thing about behavior as opposed to the way something looks at any given moment. If something is attacking you, you'll know that it's attacking you. But if something is just there minding its own business, or it may be watching you, and it may actually be trying to protect you, the thing that you are so very concerned about, because it knows whoever the guide is, whoever the guardian angel is, they know your concerns. So they're there to watch over you. They're there to protect you. Anyway, guys, I hope that this helps as a sort of a first in a series. I'm going to talk about more stuff, but before you start thinking about these things, I really want you to, before you start thinking about leaving your body, I want you to start thinking about the things that come with it, the things that can happen to you. And I hope that this series as it goes on will be helpful. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with me. And until next time, take care.